Hello, fifth graders. Welcome to lesson 5.1, equivalent fractions. This is the first lesson of our unit 5, so make sure that you take notes in your digital math notebook as we go along. Today's objective is I can create equivalent fractions by calculating common denominators, using factors and multiples with 100% accuracy in multiple attempts. You need to type the I can and the by statement in your digital math notebook. Pause so you can do that now. Today's lesson also has a vocabulary word. Today's vocabulary word is the word equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions, equivalent sounds like equal. So we can think of equivalent to mean equal, and an equivalent fraction names the same amount of a whole, but uses a different denominator. And there's an example here on the right. This example is also in your digital math notebook. You can see in the picture that we have the same amount of the rectangle named each time, but in the first example, it's 1/3. In the second example, it's 2 out of 6. And in the third example, it's 4 pieces out of 12. The picture is already in your digital math notebook, but you need to pause to type the vocabulary now. All right, fifth graders, remember that the I icon in the bottom corner means that you're just watching me for a moment. On this slide, we're going to talk about what equivalent means. Equivalent means equal. You can see the word equal in the beginning of it. It means equal to or same as. So it's the same number, we're just giving it a slightly different name. In this example, we have one whole. If we cut that whole into 2 pieces, we call each of those pieces a half. So 2 halves would be the same as one whole because I would have 2 out of 2 pieces. Smaller than a half, we have thirds, and it takes 3/3 to make a whole. Then we have fourths, and it takes 4/4 to make a whole. I'm going to pause and finish filling in this chart. All right, so you can see I filled in most of the chart. In the row, we have 1/5, and it would take 5/5 to make a whole. Then we have 6s, and it would take 6 6s to make a whole. So if you're seeing a pattern here, that if we have the same number on the top and the bottom, it's going to equal 1. So 3/3 equals 1. 4/4 equals 1. 2/2 equals 1. 5 pieces of 5 equals 1. And we can use this to help us change or find equivalent fractions. In this number line example, we have 1, 2, 3 out of 4. I would call this 3/4. This is the same number line as it has below, except now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This would be 9 out of 12. But notice that the lengths of the line are the same and they stop at the same point. So these numbers are equivalent. We would say that 3/4 is equal to 9/12. Let's figure out on the next page a way to do this without drawing a number line. All right, fifth graders. We now see the digital math notebook in the bottom corner, and that means that it's time for you to write. You have these examples in your digital math notebook. Make sure that you fill in the boxes as we go through the lesson. In this first example, we have a box that is split in the top into thirds. And then on the bottom, it is split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see for every 1/3, it's 2 6. So if we say that 1/3, if we look at here, that would be 2 6. In the second example, we have something similar. We have fourths. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And for every 1/4 that we have 2 eighths. 1, 2. All right, so how do we do this without a picture or without a number line? Well, there are a couple different ways that we can see this. When we look at 2 and 4, we know that those numbers have to be equal. So we have to think about how many times I could multiply 2 to make it 4. So if I think 2 times 2 is 4, then here comes our big important fraction rule. Whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So if I multiply the bottom by 2, I'm going to multiply the top by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. We also know that 2 over 2 equals 1, and 4 over 4 equals 4. So this would be 1 equals 1. Let's look at the next example. This time we have 3/4. In order to make a 4 into an 8, we would multiply by 2. If we multiply by 2 on the bottom, we're going to multiply by 2 on the top. 3 times 2 is 6. And here's our last example. To make a 3 into a 6, we multiply by 2. So whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. 2 times 2 is 4. So these numbers on the opposite side of our equal sign are equivalent to our first numbers. Now, in these examples, we multiplied by 2 every time, but we're not going to multiply by 2 every time. So let's keep practicing on the next page. All right, friends, the next page is the lesson activity. The lesson activity is in your digital math notebook, and you're going to fill in the boxes as we go. I'm going to stop partway through, and you're going to fill in the rest of the boxes on your own. On number 5, you can see we have a picture like before. We have fifths on top, and for every 1/5 I have 2 tenths. So that 1/5 equals 2 tenths. I'm going to skip to number 11 straight down. So number 11 says we have 3 over 3. Well, I know that 3 over 3 equals 1. So I know that 6 over 6 is going to equal 1. This is just like the problem we did on the first page. All right, now in order to get from 6 to 12, we're going to multiply by 2. And if we multiply by 2 on the bottom, we're going to multiply by 2 on the top. 4 times 2 equals 8. All right, friends, here's where I'm going to stop and you're going to finish without me. You need to finish number 6 and fill in this box, and you need to finish number 13 and fill in this box. And type your answers into your digital math notebook. All right, 5th graders, you're almost finished. When you have your notes completed, then you may complete your exit slip, and I'll be ready to see you at the teacher table. Great job!